Greetings again everyone, and I have some good news for anyone who owns a Canon RF mount mirrorless camera with a smaller aps-c sized sensor. Sigma have just launched their excellent 23mm f1.4 contemporary lens on RF mount. This is a bright aperture wide angle lens, always attractive in itself, with a smaller aps-c image circle. You can shoot with it on a full frame Canon EOS R system camera, but it'll shoot in the camera's lower resolution crop mode if you do. Now, full disclosure, this is going to be a shorter video than usual, as I've already made a complete review of this lens over on Sony E-mount, so if you want to know about this thing's distortion and vignetting, flaring, close-up image quality and so on, then check out the link in the description below. Like I say, I've already conducted a complete breakdown of this very nice lens for you. Today, I'm making a short checking video to make sure it's working properly on Canon RF mount without any weird surprises, and also to see how sharp it is on the very high resolution 32.5 megapixel sensor of my Canon EOS R7 camera. This model is definitely the sharpest of Sigma's little contemporary lenses, so I can't wait to see how it performs. At $600 US or £480 here in the UK, it's more expensive than its older contemporary siblings though. I'd like to thank Sigma UK for loaning me this lens for a few days so I could do my checks for you all, but as usual, this is an independent video and they've had no input into it at all. The lens's build quality is the same as before in that, while it's not the prettiest design in the world, it's certainly very tough and well made, with lots of metal in its construction and weather sealing, including a sealing gasket around the rear lens mount. Everything about this lens worked perfectly on my R7, from the responsive, rubberized manual focus ring to it being compatible with a camera's in-body stabilization, down to recording EXIF data in your files. It works exactly the same as any official Canon lens. And the autofocus motor is amazingly fast and accurate, as you can see here, fully compatible with subject detection autofocus. It does make a very quiet, high-pitched whirring sound as it works, but its sound is barely audible at all. As before, the lens comes with a free and decent quality hood, and as before, the front filter size is a small 52mm. The lens does not feature its own optical image stabilization. Overall, everything's working absolutely perfectly for you here. So, let's see how the lens performs on that very challenging 32.5 megapixel sensor of my Canon R7. In-camera corrections are turned on for this review. At f1.4, sharpness and contrast are good in the middle of the image, good, not great. Stop down to f2 for better contrast, and at f2.8 we get excellent sharpness in the middle. Anyway, let's open back up to f1.4 and take a look over in the corners. Contrast and sharpness are a bit lower there, but still, we are actually getting a usable image. Stop down to f2 for a small improvement, but at f2.8 we now see very good sharpness, and that continues up to f5.6 and f8. Stop down to f11 or darker, and we are treated to a good deal of softness due to diffraction. Overall though, for a 32 megapixel camera, this is actually quite a sharp performance, as this particular sensor has a bad habit of chewing up and spitting out even the sharpest of lenses. It's capturing a good amount of detail at f1.4, and if you stop down to f2.8, you get a load of sharpness from corner to corner, and on a Canon EOS R7 that's about all you can ask for really. On a 24 megapixel camera, its images will look great. Okay, well, as I mentioned, this is a shorter video. If you'd like to find out about the lens's distortion, vignetting, flaring and everything else, then you can either take my word right now that it's a good performer in those areas, or simply click on the link in the description below to see my full review. Overall, well, admittedly, on a 32 megapixel camera, it is possible to get slightly sharper performing optics than this, but not by much. In my opinion, this is a great lens on Canon RF-S, sharp and capable of capturing beautiful images with brilliant autofocus and nice build quality. So if you do own a Canon RF mirrorless camera with a smaller aps-c sensor, even an EOS R7, just go for it, as it's one of your best options on the system right now. It definitely comes recommended.